What's going on, Wolfpack? Time again for another wolfofbricks.com update. I am Jim, and this is where we talk about Lego investing and reselling. So before we get into the main topic, just going to read a question that was left on the YouTube channel, and it comes from LTB. Hi Jim, as always, thanks for your content. Because of your success selling, has that become a full-time job for you personally now, or do you still have a traditional day job in addition? I think I remember you had a video about making this a full-time job. Thank you again. I truly appreciate your videos both here and on Patreon. So to answer that question, I still have a full-time day job, right? And to be honest, the way I'm structuring my Lego reselling business model, I couldn't make that a full-time job if I wanted to, because my fulfillment center is in another state, right? So unless I would bring a warehouse full of Legos up here to Kentucky, I just don't see that happening. Now, I do plan on, leaving my job. And when I say leaving my job, I plan on no longer punching a time card or getting a salary in the next 3 years. I'm 47 now. Whenever I'm 50, I am done. If I could do it sooner, I will. But I have some military retirement that's trickling in. Should be at 100% by the time I turn 50. I have some other streams of revenue, and that's it. When I'm 50, I am done punching a time card. I'm just going to be doing a bunch of other projects. And here's the thing. There is something that I've started to sell, which I haven't mentioned on the public YouTube channel. I've mentioned it with the Patreons, and I kind of halted that. I'm not going to say what it is, but it's been pretty successful. But the reason why I stopped it was I just didn't have enough time, right? So whenever I do turn 50 in 3 years, I do plan on revisiting that and ramping it up. And who knows, since I will have some extra time on my hand, I may make another YouTube channel and talk about that a lot more in depth. All right, so the topic of this video is what to do with damaged sets, right? And a lot of people already know what I'm about to say, but I want to put it in a little bit of a better context, right? So whenever you get a damaged set, and, I said this in a recent video about if you get a nasty email from Lego or something like that, the last thing you want to do is complain about it on a Facebook group or in a forum, because I got news for you. Nobody really cares that you got a damaged set. There will be people that will say, hey, I got a Back to the Future DeLorean, and isn't it a shame? There's a dinged, corner or whatever. Again, nobody cares that you're just venting for the sake of venting online. Now, there are reasons to go ahead and document online on what's going on, because there have been some times, and this happened in our Patreon group last year. There's this Patreon, he kept on getting damaged sets from Walmart, and he wanted to investigate it. He wasn't sure if it was just because of his region or just because of supply chain issues or whatever, but it seemed like he just kept on getting bombarded and bombarded and bombarded with damaged sets. So there is I believe a damaged set thread on Brick Picker, or maybe just a shipping. I think it might actually be called Excellence in Shipping or something like that. But there's good resources, and I've mentioned Brick Picker in the past. If you're doing due diligence and you haven't gone through Brick Picker and checked them out, you're not doing due diligence, all right? So there are constructive ways to post what is going on. And, I'm going to go back to a couple years ago with Kohl's, right? Kohl's notoriously sent Lego sets in those poly bags, right? And it was aggravating, right? So I think that would be an appropriate time to go ahead and, not vent, but, voice what's going on so people can go ahead and be tracking it. Now, if you know what you're doing, there's a way to navigate around getting your Lego sets shipped to you in poly bags. Not going to say what it is, though, but when you go to Kohl's and you check out, you got to use your noggin a little bit and do a little due diligence, and you should be able to figure it out. And I'm not trying to be mean by saying I'm not going to share it. There's a Patreon member that, discovered a nice little trick, and we're just going to go ahead and keep that in-house. And I also want to go back to about 2 years ago, right, when Zavvi had a box shortage, right? I mean, it was horrific. I remember there were people that bought Lamborghinis. Was it Lamborghinis or Bugattis or some huge $300 sets? And there were people that, pulled the trigger on 6 or 10 of them. and they didn't have a box to ship them in, so they just shrink wrapped those 6 sets together, slapped a sticker to it, and off it went, right? That's really unfortunate. Now, on the other side of that, there were some people that were smart enough, and they went ahead and they contacted Savvy, and they said, listen, I want to buy 20 sets of this, right? Can you ensure that it will be in a box and it won't be damaged and whatever? And Zavvi went ahead and they replied. They said, sure, just let us, do me a favor, just put your not your shipping number, but your order number in an email. We'll take care of it. And things went by smooth, right? So if there are times when you're in doubt and you're like, geez, I may not be getting my sets in a professional shipping way and they're going to be damaged, you need to be proactive and go ahead and reach out to those vendors and make sure things are good. And if they say there's absolutely nothing that we can do, then you may want to reconsider not going ahead and purchasing anything from those vendors. So what do you do with damaged sets? Well, real quick, I just want to share some damaged sets that I have. I have a gingerbread house right here. Looked like somebody took a karate shot to it. I have this guy right here. This is a Corvette. There's a hole right there, right? And then I have this. This is the worst damage set I ever had. I mean, it looks like an elephant stepped on it, right? I think I'm going to use this in the thumbnail. So my advice is, and I, again, want to put this in the best context and try and give everybody the best perspective on this, is to just live with it. Now, this doesn't mean if you order 50 Lego sets and they all come in and all 50 of them are damaged to live with it. That's not what I mean. What I do mean is this Corvette set right here, I have like 250 of these, right? This is the only damaged set that I got. Guess what I'm going to do? I'm going to live with it. So there is a damaged Lego video that I did on another YouTube channel, and I kind of scratched the surface in it. I'm not going to bring anything from that video on here because I don't want to regurgitate information and put you through a lengthy Microsoft Excel worksheet. But whenever I did the math about a year or two ago, it came out to, if you just accept those damaged sets, it puts a dent in your sales by 2%. And that's if I generously round up. So you will be negative 2% when it comes to your overall sales. Now, some of you may be saying, but Jim, that's real money. I do thousands and thousands of dollars a year. I get that. But at the same time, if you're one of those people that are able to score, Walmart and Target clearance when it comes to 40, 50, 60% off, I mean, there's got to be a little bit give and take, right? And the only reason why I'm trying to give you this perspective, right, is because, everybody that is doing Q4 is busy, not just with Q4, but other stuff in life, right? So do you really want to have 1 or 2 damaged sets that you got? Number one, ruin your day. Number two, you're wasting time going on customer service. You're going down a rabbit hole that, does whatever. Now, I'm not a tax professional, but if you know what you're doing, I'm sure you might have an accountant that could, in a very legitimate legal way, massage the numbers around so you don't get dinged for these damaged sets if you're not selling it for, the full value that the rest of your Lego sets are selling for. So again, I'm going to use this Corvette as an example. So I have around 250, right? I do not plan on selling this until all of my 250 sets are gone. Now, the logic behind that is the longer that this stays on the shelf, because this is going to stay on the shelf whether there's a hole in it or not, because you're not going to be able to sell all 250 Corvettes in a Q4. It might be a Q4 in a couple months, or it may be over the course of 2 Q4s, right? So I will wait until all of my Corvettes are sold, and then I will go ahead and sell this as a damaged set on eBay, or if it's chronicled on Amazon, something like that. Now, when you do that, you will find out, because it's been on the shelf longer, the value will increase, even though it's a damaged set, right? So you will still be making some profit, but again, in the end, it's not going to be the large profit that you had with the other sets. But again, at the end of the day, it's roughly only going to be around 2% if you're rounding up as a loss. And I know for myself that really isn't something major to go ahead and be bitter about and, throw a fit and gaslight everybody on the internet. Hope you enjoyed the video, my friends. As always, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Once again, I'm Jim with wolfofbricks.com. Always go out there and get it.